and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's January 31st, 2019, and this is episode 10. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. We've got one new film opening in movie theaters this week, and one repeat. First up, it's Gina Rodriguez in Miss BALA. Miss BALA is based on a 2011 Mexican film of the same name, and it follows the story of a woman who trains to take down a drug cartel after they kidnap her friend. Gina Rodriguez, according to the press release, finds the power she never knew she had when she is drawn into a dangerous world of cross-border crime. Surviving will require all of her cunning, inventiveness, and strength. This film also stars Ismael Cruz Cordova and Anthony Mackie. Frankly, this is all I know about the movie, so nothing much else to add. Miss BALA is rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association of America for sequences of gun violence, sexual and drug content, thematic material, and language. Next up is the documentary Free Solo. Not to be confused with Solo, a Star Wars story. This is a National Geographic documentary that's also been nominated for an Academy Award. This film tells the story of a free soloist rock climber named Alex Honnold. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. Alex, his lifelong dream was to free climb, or whatever the proper term is, El Capitan in Yosemite National Park in California. I have not seen this film yet. I have heard from friends that it is stunning and terrifying. And seeing it in IMAX sounds like it's probably the way to go. So I'm hoping that I can go check it out in IMAX this weekend. Spoiler alert, he makes it because the guy's still alive. But he climbs this 3,000 foot rock there in Yosemite. I don't know if you've ever seen El Capitan. I mean, it's gorgeous, but the whole concept of it is just absolutely terrifying. I understand that he made the climb in about 4 hours, where I think some people often take multiple days to try to do it. They suspend themselves on those sleeping hammock things or whatever on the side of the rock. I mean, it just sounds horrifying. This guy just climbs up with no equipment. So experience the thrill of Alex Honnold's epic free solo climb of El Capitan from the edge of your seat in IMAX. Count me in. This sounds pretty cool. So this is rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association of America for brief, strong language. So again, this week we've got Miss BALA and Free Solo. For reviews this week, there's just one film I want to talk to you about, which is Stan and Ollie. And Stan and Ollie finally showed up in our market, although I think it was released just kind of more in the fall in other markets, if I'm not mistaken. It's a film about the comedy duo Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, and a tour that they took later in their careers. This tour happened in 1953, where they hit their popularity in the 30s when they were making their popular comedy films. This film is directed by Scottish director John S. Baird. It's based on a book called Laurel and Hardy: The British Tours by A.J. Marriott, and I'll put a link to this book in the podcast notes on my blog. The film stars Steve Coogan as Stan Laurel and John C. Reilly as Oliver Hardy. If you've seen the preview or seen any pictures of it, you can recognize it as John C. Reilly, but they put a lot of makeup on him. In fact, what I read is that he had to spend 4 hours in the makeup chair every time he was going to film. So wow, talk about that's a long time. But it's really remarkable how much both of them look like Laurel and Hardy. I thought it was really a nice film. It's a gentle film talking about both their relationship and then also a treatise on adult friendship and on aging. And so it's a comedy drama, but I never thought it got too heavy-handed. I again was just mostly impressed by the performances. Both John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan, I think, ace the physicality of the roles. Not to mention, again, they look like them, but they bring a certain dignity and charm to this comedy duo, and really a lot of heart in the best sense of the word. So I really highly recommend seeing Stan and Ollie if it's available at a theater near you. For Classic Cinema Corner this week, got a few things to talk about. First up, just a brief update on my TCM Essentials project. It's going well. I'm on track. I'm not necessarily going in chronological order. I skipped a little bit ahead. This week I watched something a little lighter. I watched Swing Time, which is from 1935. This is the one and only movie included in the list that stars Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, the famous dancing duo. It's the 6th film that Fred and Ginger made together. They made a total of 10 films. And it's got music by Jerome Kern and Dorothy Fields, and directed by George Stevens. I just love this movie. I've seen it before. I've seen it a few times, actually. And it never gets old. It's got a light comedic touch. The dancing in it is incredible, as are the songs. You'd recognize many of these songs, if not all of them. And it is such a fun movie. So, highly recommend Swing Time from 1935. Turner Classic Movies it was their first screening of 2019 in their Big Screen Classics series. You know how much I love these. It's basically once a month, TCM will show a classic film, or they'll sponsor a classic film on the big screen. And this month's entry, or the first entry for the year, was the classic The Wizard of Oz from 1939. What a delight it was to see this film on the big screen. I think I've seen it on the big screen one other time before, but mostly, I grew up with this film, watching it on TV, I think as many of you did too. It was on at holiday time, probably Thanksgiving or something, and we gathered the family around and watch it on TV. And I loved it. As a child, of course, I think we all can also relate. There's a lot of fun stuff in it and some pretty scary stuff. Those flying monkeys are terrifying. They were terrifying then, and they're terrifying now. I was so impressed. This print was lovely, and usually with these TCM Big Screen Classics, they've got a really pristine digital print that they'll show, and this was no exception. Soup to nuts, the sound and the picture were top notch, and just reminded of really what a technical marvel this picture is. The Technicolor scenes are amazing. The sets and all the scenery and the costumes, remarkable. Just looking at all the costumes they made in that Munchkin scene when Dorothy first arrives in Oz. Albeit they were small, they were elaborate, and the makeup that all the stars had to endure. The Cowardly Lion costume Ben Mankiewicz was telling us was like 100 pounds, and of course the set was incredibly hot because they had to light it so brightly, etc. Just the whole thing is just a marvel. It's the 80th anniversary of this film. It holds up so well, and I just found myself smiling the whole time, even with the flying monkeys. This film is actually playing. It's been so popular, they've scheduled it for 2 more nights. So you've got, it's going to be screening on February 3rd and again on February 5th. And usually theaters will show it, if not once, maybe twice, like an afternoon or an evening or both. So in our market, it's typically at 2 p.m. and at 7 p.m. if they're doing both screenings, or some days they just choose to do one. So go to fathomevents.com. I'll have a link to it on the podcast notes on the blog. And go catch The Wizard of Oz on the big screen. I think you'll be happy about it. Some happy news, speaking of happy, in fact, all this classic cinema corner today is just happy. So, we reported, months ago, it might have even been my first podcast, that the Filmstruck service had closed. Filmstruck was a streaming service that was a joint collaboration between Turner Classic Movies and the Criterion Collection. And it closed in November, and it was really, I think, a bummer for a lot of people that enjoy art cinema, international cinema, and perhaps some more obscure titles that definitely aren't available on Netflix and just really aren't available anywhere else as far as streaming goes for the most part. And then the Criterion Collection, which they're wonderfully curated and restored films that they do. This was wonderful to have the availability to see some of their content in a streaming format. So the Criterion Channel, or the Criterion Collection, not long after Filmstruck closed, announced that they were going to be doing their own streaming service. And they announced an opening date. They announced it yesterday. They are going to be open for business on April 8th. So that's exciting news, and not too far in the in the future in order for that to take place. So the Criterion Channel is going to have just, again, a lot of their curated content, and it looks like it's decently, competitively priced. And if you sign up between now and April 8th when they launch, they're going to let you watch one movie a week. They're going to have this movie of the week series, and that should be fun. Right now, they're only letting people watch this movie of the week online. So, from a computer or from a phone, you just have to go to their website. And more information is at criterion.com. I'll again have a link in the podcast notes. The first movie of the week that they're doing is Mikey and Nicky, which is from 1976. It's a gangster drama written and directed by Elaine May. It stars Peter Falk and John Cassavetes. Again, this was just announced yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm going to plan to blog and podcast about these Criterion Collection or Criterion Channel Movie of the Week series films up to the launch, because I subscribed. I'm excited about Criterion Channel. So happy news that's going to be coming back, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on with Criterion Channel. So for recommendations this week, I suggest if it's available in your market, go see The Wizard of Oz on the big screen, either on February 3rd or February 5th. it's really wonderful to see it on the big screen, and it's such a great film and such a great experience. And then also I'd recommend seeing Stan and Ollie. Really a nice and thought-provoking film, now in theaters and hopefully playing in your market. Well, that does it for this week's episode. Thanks again for listening. I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you at the movies.